It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is brand new Icarus Witch from their latest release, Goodbye, Cruel World. And a guy who is going to tell us a little bit about Icarus Witch and the brand new release is the guitarist of that fantastic band out of the Steel City. I want to welcome back to the Classic Metal Show, Quinn Lukas. How are you, Quinn?
Pretty good, man. How you guys doing?
Excellent. Well, you know what? You guys are amazing. The fact that Icarus Witch has been around for 15 years now. A lot of bands don't have that longevity in your career, and here you are with a brand new CD.
Yeah, I mean, the band's been together longer than most marriages these days.
That is true. That is true. But it's good to see you and Jason back in the fold. I guess Icarus Witch has gone through a few changes here for this new release. And, of course, it's you and Jason as the core members still carrying on the Icarus Witch flag, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, we're no stranger to lineup changes. That's everybody's fully aware of that, and it just seems that it's whenever you're faced with something like that, especially in the vocalist department, it's something that you kind of you grin a little bit because you know it's going to be painful at
Sure.
first. But it's a lot like a Band-Aid. It's like how you just rip it off. And we made, a conscious decision to whenever we were faced with it to really get back to who was going to work, who was going to not only work for the songs, but somebody that we want to work with, someone that we completely respect. And can also sing the living shit out of this music. So
Right.
We were fortunate enough to know Andrew DeCagna, and I've known him for a long time. I work with him in another project, and I've always wanted to play with Andrew, and now I get to share two projects with him. So for me, it's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Chris and I on the show, we get into these discussions about what makes a band, and when a band makes a name for themselves with a core lineup, and they have successes with that lineup, and then it changes members. Obviously, the thing that makes a band, appealing to the audience is maybe the chemistry. So with you and Jason being the original guys, as it were, what makes a band? I mean, when you have a revolving door of other musicians that have come and gone, what defines an Icarus Witch to be the Icarus Witch band, even though there's different members at different times?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. It definitely has to do with the core of the band. I like to think of it as the band as an idea, and although the paths you take to share that idea might change, meaning some peripherals around it, but the idea of Icarus Witch is still the same. It's something that it's still holds true this day. Whenever the band started, we were just about bowing to no trends, playing and writing music that we wanted to hear as fans of music and hard rock and heavy metal. We weren't hearing what we wanted to hear. So we always took it upon us to, write music for us, and hopefully someone shares kinship for that idea that is Icarus Witch. And that's kind of the way I think about it.
Right.
And that's how, the idea still holds true, even though the peripherals might change. And it's something that Jason and I, jokingly, I always say, we're the Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons of melodic metal. It's something that's really, we've been through so much together, not just with the band, but in our personal lives. lives. We've shared each other's heartbreaks and life changes and financial woes and successes. We've all shared all of those experiences together on a personal level as well. So it's definitely more than just a business partnership. Like, we're really, really close, which makes it super easy to really get down and dirty when it comes to songwriting, because, well, I'm not afraid to share myself with him, and and he feels the same way. So it's kind of, we're willing to bear all emotions
right
with each other, and sometimes that can be tough whenever you're in a room full of people, and you've worked really hard on something that might not necessarily be what you're known for, or what you're known for even writing in that group. And sometimes you can get really self-conscious about stuff like that. And until you really know the people that you work with, whenever you finally do reach that point, and it's all fears cast aside. And that's something that I think is the heart and soul of great songwriting, is just being fearless.
Right.
So I think the ability for us to be fearless around each other is definitely another thing that makes a band.
Absolutely. Well, I think I can, relate to definitely what you're saying there, because, the Classic Metal Show has been going on for 23 years. You guys have been a part of it from, the very beginning of your band. And, the chemistry between Chris and I didn't really start gelling until after Chris got a divorce, and I was no longer involved with a family-related business, to where both of us could just really let go and be honest and be ourselves. And we're experiencing the most successful phase of the show right now. Just
that is awesome. Congratulations.
Just due to the fact that neither one of us are inhibited by the things that were kind of keeping a lid on things, as it were.
Yeah. I think no matter what you do in life, I think if you're not all in, whether you're a bricklayer or a musician or a grave digger, unless you're all in and you live it, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice.
You're allowing limitations on your existence, and you're not living life to the fullest, as it were.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that, kind of, we always joke around, waving the kind of, we've been known to, wave the true metal flag for a long time, with the whole inception of the band and everything like that. Well, what is true metal? It's being true to yourself. It's not just a specific way of playing, I think. I think it's, if we weren't, writing songs like Anti-Venom, we wouldn't be true to us. And to me, I think some genre labels can actually go deeper than sonic landscapes, so
sure.
to speak. Same thing with the progressive genre label. Well, what is progression? Progression is moving forward. It's not just odd time signatures. So everyone gives bands shit for, especially progressive bands, for changing, for doing different things. Well, they wouldn't be progressive if they didn't change.
Right, absolutely.
It's self-defeating, So I always get a kick out of that. Like, oh man, that band changed. They're not as progressive as they used to be. You just said they changed. That's progressive.
Right, right.
That's something that is inherent in that title. So I think that if you're not true to yourself, no matter what you do, you need to find yourself rooted in what you love, and then you break down the walls, and it's kind of, the road's wide open. Right,
absolutely. Well, for a band like Icarus Witch to hail out of a city, a Midwestern city like Pittsburgh, and you guys, obviously don't live on the coast, be it New York or LA, where, it's always where supposedly it happens per se. You guys have had a fair amount of success, with having guests on your disc and working with some, name people in the business. And, also, a few years back, you guys had an opportunity to be the touring band with Paul Di'Anno. What do you attribute to your success in the business, since you're not in the middle of, be it LA or New York?
A couple things, and I'm glad you kind of brought this up, because I was just actually having a discussion with Jason about a lot of people, focus on success or being successful, especially in the music business. I teach as well, and a lot of my students want to know about careers in music and whatnot. And whenever I talk to them about being successful, I said, I always kind of put it this way: don't worry about making yourself successful. Worry about making yourself valuable. If you make yourself valuable, success will definitely come, because you're going to be sought after. Now, that being said, I think a lot of it goes with building personal working relationships with some of these guys as well. Like some of the names like Paul, it was whenever that opportunity first came about, it was kind of it was on a wing kind of thing. Like, the opportunity came our way, it fell through, didn't get to do it the first time around, couldn't make the tour happen. Whenever it got thrown on our plate the second time, it was basically baptism by fire. It's like, okay, this thing is going through, we're going to do this. And, especially with Paul, you hear all these stories of, the Beast. That's what his nickname is. Like, oh my God, is this guy going to be that difficult to work with? And a lot of it is persona, because the very first night we were in a rehearsal room with him, he just put everyone at ease, and it was super comfortable until we started singing. Then the hair came, stood up on my arms, like, oh my God, this Paul Di'Anno singing running free. Right. That's pretty awesome. One of my all-time favorite singers. And we just all became very good friends because, well, we made ourselves valuable. And not only that, we made ourselves accessible. We didn't put 110% into our music and not his. We put 120% into his as well, and that was something that he appreciated, not having a band kind of phone it in for him. And that's what he always said. He's like, you guys, you never turn it off. Like, it's all, you guys are always on. And that was a huge compliment coming from him, because, he's played with thousands of musicians, and, the same thing with whenever you're touring with different bands, like whenever we were on the YNT tour, it's the same thing. It's like, oh my God, these guys are, they're some of our idols. And you start building a working relationship with them, and you realize, like, wow, they appreciate hard work just as much as anyone else does. And that's something that I think bands, especially newer bands, need to focus on, is the hard work aspect of it, because at the end of the day, people are lazy. They're just not going to listen to you. You have to make them want to listen to you.
Right. Well,
and that's something that I think it's harder to achieve these days, because there's, well, the avenues to put out music they're wide open.
Absolutely. Now, I understand you took part in the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. Is that right?
Yeah. I've actually been fortunate enough to have dealings with 3 or 4 camps now. It's an awesome thing. You get to jam with some incredible people, including the campers. Some of the campers are just crushing musicians, and from all walks of life, which is something that I get a complete and utter just kick out of. I love it. Like knowing that some guy's a CEO of a software company, but he loves to get down and play Foreigner. You know what I mean? I think it's awesome.
Right.
I think it's fantastic. And so it's one of those things that really you do realize that music is a great, it's the great equalizer, man. Like everybody loves music. So it's one of those things like you see. I was just out there 2 months ago for the Paul Stanley camp, and Paul was such a genuinely honest, nice person. A joy to be around. All these guys, they could easily, like I said, even they could phone that in. They could just show up. Okay, I'm here. Got to do what I got to do. Got to answer questions, whatever. A lot of these guys take huge pride in being a part of it, and they have Q&A sessions that are in depth, and the jams just will go on and on and on. They just have a blast doing it. And actually, I was out for the Steven Adler camp, and that's actually where I got engaged. I had Steven as a part of it. We had it planned where we were playing, and Steven would stop and act like I screwed up a solo and kind of look around, and he's like, "What's up, Quinn? Like, I thought we went over this. I thought you knew this. Like, we rehearsed it." And he pulled my then girlfriend up on stage. He's like, "We met. Like, you better talk to Quinn. Like, something's up with him. Like, you better talk to him." And pretty soon I got down on the knee, and she was completely surprised. And Steven was just an absolute champ about it. It was like he's done it a million times.
Right.
So it was really, really cool having, Steven Adler is part of my proposal.
Sure, absolutely.
So it's pretty neat stuff,
Very cool.
I don't know. I don't know how many people can say that the dude that played the on one of the most badass rock albums engaged. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Well, let's talk a little bit about this new release, Goodbye Cruel World. I guess one of my standard questions is to just about everybody these days is why make a full-length CD today? I mean, you're well aware the music industry is not what it was, and downloads are what they are, and So, what's in it for a band like Icarus Witch to spend the time and effort to record a full-length CD?
Well, I think it goes back to the being true thing. I think if we were just to put out singles constantly, we'd be kind of cheating ourselves and cheating the people that did wait around and love the band and want new products from us. They would digest the singles, and I think they would appreciate them. But at the same time, there's people that waited around while Jason and I got our shit together, so to speak. We really wanted to treat them to a great full-length album. And also, with vinyl being in a huge resurgence, we wanted to treat ourselves and our fans and do a vinyl this time around, which hopefully will be coming out in the next couple weeks. So that gives us a chance to do that, and that's hard to do whenever you just release singles all the time. And especially whenever, like, the way we write, we write like an old school album-oriented band. We like to focus ideas and vibes from more than one song. We like to get a kind of a mood and it's hard to achieve with just one song. I like to make an experience out of it, so to speak. And to me, that's part of the reason why doing it. And also, old habits are hard to change, man.
Right.
It's like, if we went in the studio and just cracked out one song and be like, okay, man, now what do we do?
Right, right. So it's just a work of passion more than anything else. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. And I think, if we didn't do it that way, we would probably Jason and I would drive each other insane.
Well, we all need a creative outlet, which for you, obviously, Icarus Witch is your baby per se, and it's got the longevity that it has only because you guys have put the dedication and work in keeping it alive, much like what we've done with the Classic Metal Show. We could close shop next week and that'd be the end of it, but we choose to continue on.
Yeah, I think it's for a passion. That's the only choice you have is just to keep forging forward.
Right. Well,
and
go ahead.
I think in this day and age, you are right with downloads and streaming and everything, but this is still, I think, probably the best it's been in a couple years as far as putting out a release, the chance to do vinyl, and which gives us a chance to sell product on the road, in merch sales and stuff like that. It gives you the best opportunity to sell hard copies, being able to put out a vinyl, being able to do that. And laws are getting changed, slowly but surely, but trying to deal with the whole streaming issues and stuff like that, and the whole gray area of the pay scale and things like that. And a really good friend of mine, Mike Klink, producer of Appetite for Destruction, Use Your Illusion, Rust in Peace, the list goes on and on. He fights very hard for what he calls fair pay for fair play, and I think this year and the next coming years we're probably going to see some breaking the action, some evening the playing field, so to speak. So I'm really optimistic with the way things are going to head with the music industry in the next couple of years.
Well, let's hope that's the case. Now, being that you guys, it's been a few years since you recorded a disc, listening to these tracks, the thing that stands out for me as far as the recording itself, I'm going to only use a term here that seems appropriate. It's very bright. It's kind of in your face, very bright, very crisp, very clean. There's no muddiness to it at all. It's a very bright, in your face disc.
Yeah, and it was something that we wanted to do with Rise. We started doing it, kind of taking our style of music and using more of a modern production approach as far as shining it up a bit. The way that even throughout the 70s and 80s, you had bands that their albums just sounded so much bigger, so much brighter than everything else that was coming out. Even though it was recorded, same techniques that all the other bands were using, they just took a different ear to it. And that was something that, with Rise we really started doing, and we wanted to build on with this one. And I wanted to build up guitar sounds more. I wanted more of a wall of, guitars kind of thing going on this album. And, I think we pretty much, we had the talent behind us as far as our production team to really run the gamut of what we wanted to do. And Brad Cox was the guy who mixed the full length, and he just did a bang up job. I can't say enough about that guy. He's incredibly awesome. He's a joy to work with. And he came via suggestion, reference from Mike Klink, and he's like, "Hey, I want you to check out, my partner. I think he's the guy that you should have mix the full length." And within a couple of conversations, where his head was at as far as what he wanted to tackle with it and where we wanted to go with it. We seen things the same. We viewed things very, very much eye to eye, and it became just a really good working relationship. And then came time to choose a mastering house, and we really wanted to work with Eric Martinson of Eclipse. And we're fans of his. He's fans of ours. And I was like, man, this is going to be a chance to work with someone that we not only respect, but respects us as well on the same level. And again, it was just a joy to work with him. And it was a pretty kick-ass team that we put together. So it was like the who's who of melodic rock. I was like, okay, this is cool. And yeah, it came, we wanted a punchy, very clear drum mix. Like I said, very kind of crisp guitars, but not in the sense to where they're thin. We wanted very thick sounding guitars, but we wanted them up front. And this is probably the most kind of ballsy bass sound that we've ever used on an Icarus Witch album. Usually Jason's sound is very clean and very has a certain presence to it, and we kind of made it dirtier and a little bit darker on this one to kind of
offset the brightness.
Yeah,
it's
and
a
also
contrast.
Not fight with the drum. Yeah, and we kind of complement the drum sounds. Mm-hmm. Since the drums were punchier, and we wanted that, so we wanted a nice solid foundation to kind of complement that. And man, I was blown away. So, and still left room for these huge hooks that are happening in the chorus and vocals, and it's always that's always my favorite part is working through the final mixes. It's always fun to me.
Well, it all worked. As you said, you put quite a melodic hard rock team together for this new disc, and it shows.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So, what else you want to tell us about this new CD? Anything else that kind of stands out for you, or something you want to point out to the fans?
Yeah, this is the first. This album features the first instrumental that we've ever done in 15 years, which is hard to believe. Huge fans of Maiden that we are, and 70s and 80s album-oriented rock, AOR style. This is the first time that we've put together an instrumental. Very, very, very pleased with it. I think it's, and I think any old school classic metal, classic AOR fan is going to really dig into it, because it's just got that, fist in the air kind of mentality behind it. And also, I just really, it was a conscious effort to push our playing and our songwriting on it. And it shows, there's a lot of contrast on the album. It's something that we really wanted to strive for, and sometimes, it's easy to get lost in that and forget about the song structure and stuff like that. And I think this time around, just the experiences that I've gained, working with some different people outside the band, in production realms of things, really helped out with that. And so it goes to show that sometimes a small hiatus and kind of rebuilding things can really kind of add some octane to the tank.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, what's on the horizon for Icarus Witch? You guys lining up any kind of tours or any kind of packages or anything for 2019?
That's some things that are kind of in the works now. We just released. We're going to be doing some local stuff at first in the spring. Because we're going to take the remainder of the soon-to-be winter season here, and kind of just head up at rehearsals in full swing and put together a package for the springtime. We just released a show date. We'll be doing another date with Jakey Lee's Red Dragon Cartel. This will be the second time around playing with those guys. Super stoked about it. They just released their album. It's awesome. I spent the whole last week basically digesting it and spinning it over and over again, or, just kind of taking it all in. Man, Jake is just a complete badass. He really is. So I'm really looking forward to sharing the stage with him again. We're going to be announcing some fun news soon. So you'll have to keep an eye out on all the usual social media sites for that. That will actually probably, that news will be released probably this next week. So keep an eye out for something cool, something fun, a little different. There'll actually be a show attached to that in the Pittsburgh area in December. So it's right around the corner.
Perfect. Well, it sounds like you guys got a lot of good stuff going on. Congratulations on the new release. I see that Jason also got a little piece in the Decibel magazine?
Yeah, Decibel. He got a feature in Bass Player, which was awesome for him this time around. I know I was fortunate enough, Rise got us into Guitar World for the first time. I'm hoping to hopefully do some stuff with them again. But yeah, Jason, he was able to, like Decibel did, not only they broke the album release, but he got to do the most metal countdown thing in Pittsburgh, which is really, really cool. Pittsburgh has a lot to offer the metal community these days, which is, fitting. The Steel City, man, the Iron City. So a lot of metal we have here.
No kidding. And he mentioned Pinball PA, which Chris owns. So that was
it's an awesome place. Like we were joking around about we should do a video there.
Yeah, why not?
How cool would that be?
Why not?
We to keep in our running Rush video series. We did the studio video for Goodbye Cruel World. And I was like, oh man, we should do kind of a subdivisions kind of take and do it through this. That'd be awesome, man.
Absolutely. Excellent. Well,
so yeah, it'd be very cool. Now all we have to do is find a pinball machine called Lightning Strikes, and we'll be in.
Perfect. Well, you guys and gals can go over and check out Icarus Witch over there at their website, IcarusWitch.com, and they'll keep you up to date with everything going on with the band, and pick up the new release, Goodbye Cruel World, and, help these guys out and, support a classic metal show favorite.
Thank you, guys.
So anything else?
No, just everybody, if you do the social media thing, hit us up. We love chatting with people, whether it be Facebook or Instagram, something like that, anything like that, hit us up. We love talking to you guys. And yeah, just keep it true, man. Keep it metal.
All right. Excellent. All right, Quinn, we appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk to us here on the Classic Metal Show. Go out and buy the new Icarus Witch today, Goodbye Cruel World. And as always, we let the artist pick a closing song from the new disc. So what should we play, and tell us a little story about it?
I'm going to go with Miss Fortune Teller.
Okay.
This song is just it's a banger from beginning to end. Just has awesome hooks, and this one is one of my favorites off the new album because Andrew's voice is just incredible on it. And it was also one of the first ones that we wrote in conjunction with him as far as vocally, and he shines on it. I think it's an awesome banger of a tune.
Excellent.
So enjoy, guys.
All right. Well, here it is. This is Icarus Witch from their latest release, Goodbye, Cruel World, and this is Misfortune Teller exclusively here on your Classic Metal Show.